Yo! How's it going, everybody? We are obviously hanging out, touching tips. Your tip,
I know,
is severely lacking. We're gonna fix that.
I know. Our tips have been completely desynchronized.
I'm offended. But we're here, obviously in Calgary. We just wrapped up the Bitcoin rodeo. I had a great time. Very happy to have you here too. And I don't know how you liked it.
Dude, it was a great time. The rodeo was absolutely legendary. The roast, JP Sears made the trek, made the journey here, and absolutely hilarious. His comedy bit yesterday, and then the roast of BTC Sessions, that was absolutely hilarious. You got it all on live stream too, right? If people want to go back, they can go to your channel and check it out.
Yeah, it's on the channel. We did the whole day. I think we had the entire first and second day of the rodeo, but also then at night we rented a venue and did an after party, and we did. You were there from like 9:30 to midnight, and then obviously you're on like Miami time, so you're technically 2 hours ahead. So that was like 2 a.m. for you. You stayed till, and then because I'm not on Miami time, I stuck it out for another 2.5 hours after that, and we continued to stream well into the evening, and it got a little messy. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, that's great. It gets messy. I mean, I gotta say, I've been staying a couple days here with Ben, and they know how to party up here in Calgary, man.
Yeah, people have been tying one on for sure. Stampede hasn't even started. I'm going to take you to that tomorrow too. So,
oh man, I'm beyond excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So, well, we're going to do the news from the studio. I just wanted to point out, I've officially got a Mate X on the back wall there, and it's beautiful, and I love it. I picked it up from the man himself yesterday, who was also at the rodeo, and yeah, very excited for it. So
I still have not seen him naked while I've been here.
You haven't lived. So we're gonna dive into it. Of course, this is Nico's got the latest and greatest. I've got the tech updates. We're gonna get rolling with it. Do you want to do it with me? This is your Simply session.
HODL the Bitcoin.
Mission to enable independence by being one of the easiest and quickest ways to purchase Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And the best part about it, every buy goes directly into your own self-custody. They never hold your coins. You can add a Bitcoin address as part of onboarding. There's a transparent 1% spread, no hidden fees, no withdrawal fees. Plus they have KYC free sells and bill payments on their website. They're also a publicly traded company under the ticker BTCW on the TSXV. Check them out over at bitcoinwell.com. Check out my full tutorial on how to use them, and you can check out the links in the show notes down below and sign up today. Bitcoin Lightning wallet built with simplicity in mind. Send and receive with ease, claim your own Lightning address, shop your favorite gift cards, and even earn rewards when you spend. Head over to speed.app to download the app on your mobile or desktop today, and be sure to use code BTC Sessions 10 to get 5,000 sats for free and the chance to win even more. All right, we're back in. Nico's showing me how to produce on the fly here, and I'm learning all kinds of tips and tricks that I wish I would have known many months before. But we're gonna dive in, man. Let's just go right at it. I'll let you take the reins here. So what's been going on? What is top of mind? What's rolling in the Bitcoin space?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, look, Bitcoin's getting into political sphere, and I know a lot of Bitcoiners like react like vampires to it, like garlic and vampires, or whatever. Like, it's terrible. But no, the reality is, like, we've been covering this specific topic for many, many months now on Simply Sessions. I apologize. But yeah, so just quick recap. Biden administration has been anti-Bitcoin and pro CBDC. And then the other candidates, RFK, I love RFK, has been pro Bitcoin, anti CBDC. And of course, Donald Trump, who actually has a chance of winning the election, has been pro Bitcoin, anti CBDC. And actually, our friends over at Bitcoin Mag have been working with the Trump campaign to kind of like tell him what's up, in regards to meeting with a lot of the public miners, a lot of their policy in relation to Bitcoin. And this is massive, but at the same time, not surprising whatsoever. Here's one of the latest articles from Forbes, right? And the headline for the audio listeners is Trump sparks talk of Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. It goes on to say, we want all the remaining Bitcoin to be made in the USA. In a Trump social post last month, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump expressed strong support for Bitcoin. In the same post, he recognized the geopolitical significance of the world's largest cryptocurrency, warning that any policy that seeks to hamper Bitcoin only helps China and Russia. Trump's statement not only positioned himself as the first pro-Bitcoin nominee as a major political party, it also put a spotlight on the discussions about classifying Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. I think that's the key point here. We knew about the whole cryptocurrency mining aspect of it, but there is also some rumors that were going about. And what's really interesting about this is that David Bailey has been kind of like beating the battle drum over the last couple weeks or so. By the way, David Bailey's the CEO of Bitcoin Magazine, and they're the ones that are helping the Trump campaign. And essentially, David Bailey's been making the case that the U.S. should be mining Bitcoin. He's also been making the case that the Bitcoin that the U.S. currently holds, I think it's like 250,000 or 210,000 Bitcoin, they shouldn't sell it. They should just keep it. There's also been talks about time locks, right? And think about how crazy that would be from a government perspective, right? You time lock Bitcoin, meaning you can't spend that Bitcoin until a certain block is hit. And then all of a sudden, no matter what political party gets in office, that Bitcoin that belongs to the US government is only going to benefit the future generations, right? Of course, these are all the tools that Bitcoin gives you. Will politicians be able to do that? I don't know. But I think it also it also exposes their incentives, right? It's like, why are you guys time locking this Bitcoin? Like, what's going on there? Are you saying that you're selling out the future for now? So yeah, I think this is absolutely phenomenal. Also, shout out to Vivek Ramaswamy, because he's really been the one to he was the one who originally told Trump about CBDCs. We got so excited about that. And then shortly after, and I completely blame the Biden administration for this, for being so hostile against Bitcoin. Shortly after Trump went out on the Libertarian Conference, he says, I'll free Ross and, I'll protect Bitcoin. So no, absolutely bullish news. Here's a quick tidbits here. Of course, you have RFK's plan that would back U.S. treasuries by gold, silver, platinum, and Bitcoin. And the intent behind Ramaswamy and Kennedy's proposal to curb inflation by pegging the dollar to deflationary assets that maintain their value over time. We've tried this. It inevitably got co-opted. But you guys know one of my favorite sayings: the Overton window is definitely shifting. Orange man is good for orange coin, at least for a regulatory perspective. As you can clearly tell here, very orange, very Bitcoin.
Super orange. That is an orange photo, and I'm colorblind, so if I notice, that is interesting. One of the things in here that I noticed the most, where he says that anything that hampers Bitcoin only helps China and Russia, and I think this is where we start to see that kind of game theoretical, the way that Bitcoin works and the incentive structure that it presents to the world. It's if you don't have your own Bitcoin strategy for your jurisdiction, others will capitalize on it. And he's right, because it's not like China and Russia are unaware of Bitcoin and unaware of the precarious situation that the US dollar is in. I don't know that they yet understand kind of how much they could benefit from having a better stance on Bitcoin than the US government, but it's only a matter of time before all these countries start to realize like, oh, holy shit, like we've got to get on top of this. And the longer we wait, the more we are at a loss versus other nations, and we're going to let it slip through our fingers. And the US already has. And I've got a comparison in one of the next stories for that, but yeah, I'll let you take it from here.
No, and I'm absolutely glad that you brought that up, right? Because this is something along the lines of what Max Kaiser was saying. As predicted back in 2019, when I coined the term global hash war to describe nations switching from trying to ban Bitcoin to hoarding BTC as a strategic asset, I was the lone voice at the time. Now it's common knowledge. Jason Lowy plagiarized the idea some years later. Kaiser, absolute savage. No, but he brought up a really good point, right? Which is what you saw about China and Russia, right? And it's again, you can't ban yourself from Bitcoin. I mean, you can't ban Bitcoin. You can only ban yourself from Bitcoin. If the U.S. steps in, if Trump gets elected, the U.S. becomes extremely pro-Bitcoin, a very pro-Bitcoin business environment, China and Russia, if they don't kind of follow suit, they risk themselves getting left behind, right? Which is, again, I think beneficial for Bitcoiners. Here's Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie is a representative in the House of Representatives, and he read the Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean. And after he finished reading the book, he said, we should end the Federal Reserve. Now, this is important because it continues to shift the Overton window. A lot of people's pains come from this ever-growing administrative state. What is the administrative state? The administrative state is the unelected bureaucracy that remains in power regardless of who gets elected, makes the government get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the reason that they're able to fund this is because they have a money printer. The U.S. government spent $1.7 trillion more than it collected in tax revenue in 2023. The reason that they were able to get away with this is because they printed the difference, right? So after you read the Bitcoin Standard, I mean, it's common sense. I guess to Bitcoiners, maybe we're just a bunch of autistic nerds, but it's obvious that the central banking is the issue. But I think it's a big deal when you have more representatives. And I just want to give a shout out to Ron Paul, because he was saying this many, many years ago, and he was being laughed in Congress. Now you have more and more people supporting this. You've had multiple representatives introducing bills that would end the Federal Reserve. They're kind of symbolic at the moment because they don't have enough political support. You've had Ron Paul, you have Senator Davidson, and now you have Representative Massie. I have a small clip from Saifedean's podcast. So he actually went on Saifedean's podcast, and let's check out what he has to say.
The Federal Reserve needs to end, but it's just a tool, and Congress is the one that is directing all of the profligate spending that is unsustainable, and the Fed is just basically a way to accomplish that. I mean, it's other things too, and it's got CFPB inside of it, which is another evil unto itself. I think whole universes will spawn into existence out of that Supreme Court ruling that says the CFPB, that Congress can create an agency that's no longer accountable to Congress and can create it gets to like suck off the teat of the Federal Reserve and has its own revenue source that can make money. Like it's crazy. The Federal Reserve needs to end. But it's just
so. I mean, again, this is something that Bitcoiners have been saying for quite a while. But the fact that it's it's a representative, someone who has the potential to influence law, I think is a massive deal. It's definitely a step in the right direction. We have a lot of work to do because the vast majority of Congress either is completely unaware of this, or even worse, they're like, I kind of like this. I don't know. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it's as you said, the Ron Paul thing, like he was effectively either laughed at or ignored, referred to as some kook, like why go listen to him? But like Massie actually put it out there and got a decent amount of support for it. Like it's not gonna happen, not with his proposal right now at this point in time, but the fact that he actually got support for what he was saying and a meaningful amount is telling of the times that we're in, and that people are recognizing there's something wrong. There's something insidious about the system itself. And on the opposite side of the spectrum of people that recognize but are more blatant about it, you get like the Brad Shermans of the world that, you know, they know it's insidious, or maybe they don't say it's insidious, but they know the type of privilege that comes with being able to print money, and they just openly say it. And they say, well, we're the US government. We can, yeah, we do print money out of the thin air, but you know, look at who we are. We're allowed to do it. You're not. Like they're just blatantly saying, again, that quiet part out loud. And it's, again, very telling, I think.
Absolutely. It's, and, you know, and again, it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning, that like Bitcoin exposes all incentives. Anyways, speaking of, I mean, that was a good take, but Brad Sherman, bad take. Speaking of bad takes, here's Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is the founder of PayPal with Elon Musk. And, you know, he said something really interesting. I actually brought it up yesterday at the Bitcoin Rodeo. And he says, Peter Thiel feels that majority of the value has already been extracted from Bitcoin. Let's check out what he has to say.
But then there, you know, probably the part where I'm less convinced of is this question of the sort of ideological founding vision of Bitcoin or these cryptocurrencies as sort of a, you know, cypherpunk, crypto anarchist, libertarian, anti-centralized government thing. You know, this is always, you know, the line.
Isn't that what got you interested in the first place?
That's what I thought was terrific about it. And then, you know, the question is, does it really work that way? Or, you know, has that thread somehow gotten lost? And so when people in the FBI tell me that they'd much rather have criminals use Bitcoin than $100 bills, it suggests that maybe, you know, maybe it's not quite working the way it was supposed to.
Have you sold any of your Bitcoin?
I still hold some. I've you know, there are all these ways I didn't buy as much as I should have, and I'm not sure it's going to go up that dramatically from here.
From here?
Yeah, I think we got the ETF edition, and I don't know who else buys it quickly from here.
Some interesting investment advice. That actually surprised me, because I don't think I've heard you. I thought you were still all in.
I still have a small position. It probably still can go up some, but it's going to be a volatile, bumpy ride. And I had a dual reason. One was this sort of, you know, ideological, decentralized future of computing world that I really do believe in. Really believe would be better. And it seemed like the perfect vehicle for that for such a long time. And I am just much less convinced of that. And so
interesting.
So maybe Larry Fink with the BlackRock ETF surrendered to the forces, the anti-ESG forces, or maybe it's more like Bitcoin's been co-opted by them. And I worry it was more the latter.
Okay, different question.
I mean, bro, that's a pretty big statement, but did you see him fidgeting?
Yeah.
You know, and it seems like Bitcoin's a humility test at the end of the day, which is part of the reason that I believe like Elon hasn't signed up to it. Mm-hmm. And it's very difficult for people to swallow the pill of everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. Mm-hmm. Clearly, he didn't have as much and money's relative, of course, you know, so this guy's a billionaire, but money's relative, right? $100 million is the world to some people. $100 million is not that much for people like Peter Thiel, right? So if he feels like he was underexposed back in the day when Bitcoin was at, you know, 1,000 or below 1,000, and he didn't get that exposure, you know, and he didn't jump on the train, he might be feeling a little bit sour. But I still think the party is just getting started. Bitcoin is completely decentralized. Bitcoin is the money of enemies. It was inevitable that some institutions like BlackRock are going to get involved. I think nation states are going to get involved. But I think the part that he's missing is you can't co-opt it. Like, unless, you know, I don't know how you do it, right? It's it's decentralized. Ben, you're going to speak in a much more elegant way about this specific topic than I am, but it's completely decentralized. The vast majority of the supply is held by individuals. 11 million out of the 19 or 20 million that have been mined, I think 4 million are lost, right? So the vast majority of Bitcoin is still held by individuals. There's a decentralized node network all around the world. What would you say, Ben, when he says it's been captured and co-opted?
Again, owning a bunch of Bitcoin does not give you any more power over Bitcoin than somebody who owns like 100,000 sats, right? Like you can't change Bitcoin. And the best part about it is that if, say, BlackRock wanted to, quote unquote, try to co-opt Bitcoin and change it, and they would basically have to fork the code, and they'd have to tell everybody else to join them. And you get a situation where it'd be like if somebody created a new internet, somebody creates Internet 2, and they were like, all right, I created this new internet, and here's what it does. And if you want to come on this internet, then it's not backwards compatible with the original internet. So you won't be able to interact with anybody that's still on Internet 1. So who's with me? Who's coming over to Internet 2? Like, good luck getting people to move to your internet. And that's assuming that it's significantly better. If you're BlackRock and you're going to try and cuck it for some reason, like, even less of a chance of making that happen. And it's completely infeasible. And so there's ways that it can be slowed down, and that you can create problems, and that you can rope people into centralized institutions and then try to regulate and cuck those things. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin as a base layer protocol is designed the way it is for a reason, and it's to prevent what he's describing and what he's worried about. And I feel like Peter Thiel's a smart guy, but I don't think that he's fully recognized what he's dealing with. And I think and I've also not seen him speak before, but like, I don't know if it's just this one or this is how he always is, but he's sweaty as hell, and he seems jittery and kind of can't form his words very well, or maybe he just wasn't uncomfortable talking about he didn't have enough Bitcoin.
Exactly. I really think that's what it is. And like I noticed that too. Like, he was like tripping over his words, when he was answering that question. So it's interesting. But clearly not everyone feels that way. Of course, you have another billionaire. You have Michael Dell. And we've been talking about Michael Dell for a while. He started hinting. He started using some words that, about regarding scarcity. He's obviously in the meme game.
That's a solid gif under there. I gotta say.
By the way, Michael Dell is significantly wealthier than Saylor. This is someone who has a $15 billion net worth. So is Michael Dell the next billionaire to kind of jump in the fold? Also, he has a massive public company behind of which he is the majority shareholder. Very similar situation to Saylor. And he's been hinting this. He posted the Cookie Monster eating Bitcoin cookies. He's retweeted Saylor multiple times. I believe this is the first time that he's actually mentioned Bitcoin by name. And he says the most important thing, AI, Bitcoin, love and relationships, nubbin of the ball. I love how Bitcoiners are just all autistic. Fuck family, fuck love, fuck relationships. Bitcoin is the most important. But I think it's a pretty strong signal. Is Michael Saylor going to be the next? Sorry, is Michael? There are the Michaels, the Bens and the Michaels. I don't know. Something's going on here. Is Michael going to be the next billionaire? Michael Dell going to be the next billionaire to follow in the footsteps of Michael Saylor? Ben?
I mean, yeah, it's so first off, I got to say, Bitcoin is fantastic. It has significantly improved my life, and it is something I'm very passionate about. But also, if you voted Bitcoin over love and relationships, you may need to take a step back for a little bit because yeah, I don't know, like me sitting alone in a basement with my Bitcoin is not as appealing as me sharing my Bitcoin with my love of my life and my family and having good relationships. So like, you know, let's strike a balance here. I mean, to be fair, the poll is balanced because it's like around the 40% range for each, but you know, value your friends and relationships. Either way, yeah, I mean, it's the people again that are having to preserve that whose job it is to preserve capital and purchasing power are one of the groups that are most incentivized to begin to understand Bitcoin. And so I think that's why we're starting to see this. And I think that there's more of it under the surface than we're seeing. And it's just so happened to be that Michael Dell was kind of the next one to begin publicly hinting at it and now more overtly starting to speak about it. So, you know, he wasn't the first, he won't be the last. And we'll see if the next one is also named Michael.
Yeah, exactly right. If it's going to be all the billionaires that named Michael, we might have two 51% attacks in the fold, which is going to be interesting. Speaking of Michael, we got the original Michael in the house, and I think he explains why we all feel crazy when speaking to no coiners. It's a quick 15-second bit.
The world's full of conventional wisdom and conventional thinkers and conventional institutions, and you can give them the answer. You can even take the risk. You can even prove it works. They will still stare at it and not do it.
That's so spot on. And speaking of conventional thinkings, and we're going to end the news with this and pass it on to Ben, the German government, once again, highlighting the fact of how governments are absolutely regarded. They send another 1,500 Bitcoin worth $95 million to an exchange. Yeah, it's crazy because they're selling something that is absolutely scarce. They can't create more of for something that they can create more of, which is absolutely hilarious. But I think it highlights the inefficiencies of government. Ben, what do you think?
I love it when governments dump Bitcoin. I love it so much. I think it's everybody knows where Bitcoin is headed. And so if you are in Bitcoin and you're feeling sad about the dip, don't, because the weak hands of government have just let you know what could have been you know generational wealth for their nation slip through their fingers, and people that understand what this is are snapping it up. And so don't be sad about the dip. You know, get your shit in order, make sure that you're spending less than you earn, and then saving, you know, the fruits of your labor in, of course, Bitcoin that cannot be printed by said governments, and you're going to be fine. You're only worried if you know your cash flows aren't in order and you haven't sorted out your spending habits. But that is also why being a Bitcoiner is important, because you can realize some of the issues that you may have, and you can begin to sort them out as well. Like there's definitely been times where I've had Bitcoin and I've had to unfortunately sell to cover things because I didn't have my budgeting and everything in order. I wasn't as conscientious about what I was spending my money on. And, you know, Bitcoin helped me fix that, because I've recognized like, oh geez, these savings that I had are being depleted. That's a me issue. And it only takes you know, overspending and then having to pay off a credit card with Bitcoin. And then when you paid off the card, you know, realizing that what you paid off the card with would be worth far more now. You know, all those experiences contribute to making you realize that it's the habits that need to change. So, you know, the governments will come to this realization too. Their deficit spending is no longer viable in a world of Bitcoin.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, governments, please keep literally separating money from state. We highly appreciate it. Anyways, we'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
some of the best hardware on the market today to secure your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and is my daily driver. And on top of this, they have plenty of other goodies, including the Mark IV, the Tap Signer, Open Dimes, the Block Clock, and much more. If you head over to their website, make sure you use code BTC Sessions at checkout to get a nice discount. Links are in the show notes down below. Allows you to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Collateral is held in a 3 of 4 distributed multi-sig with trusted parties. It provides institutional liquidity providers, loan periods of up to 5 years with flexible conditions and the best rates. And best of all, no rehypothecation of your funds. If you want to check them out today, head over to debify.com or hit the link in the show notes down below. All right, we are right back in. We're going to roll through a few of these tech updates before signing off here. Excited about this. So this is Phoenix Wallet version 2.3.1, and they have added Bolt 12. And some of you may be unfamiliar with what this is. One of the problems with Lightning up until now has been you had to deal with invoices, right? And even in the back end, there's some tricky things going on, and some wallets didn't have support for things like Lightning addresses, or you can get BTC Sessions at phoenix.com or something like this. Well, Phoenix has now added support for something called Bolt 12 offers, and basically what it allows you to do is have a reusable, non-expiring payment request. You can also, they've added contact lists on Android for now, iOS soon, and you can attach messages to payments. But Bolt 12 is the main thing here. The quote here, they said, "This marks a new step forward in Lightning UX. No need to generate a new QR code for every payment. No need for the payer and receiver to interact. Phoenix Android and soon iOS also supports contacts, so on and so forth." But I mean, this is a big step. This is the ability to post a singular QR code anywhere you want and have people be able to pay you easily. And this is something that I was really waiting for and excited to have. So if you're on Android, you can update now. I believe actually iOS does have the Bolt 12 update. It's just the contact list is not on iOS yet. So yeah, congrats to the Phoenix team. That's super awesome. And they're not the only ones. Check it out. This is Strike Bolt 12. Thank you, Nico. He's helping me. Bolt 12 Playground. Again, I am pleased to share our latest open source contribution, the Bolt 12 Playground. This project provides a simple to use hands-on testing environment for those working or interested in exploring and practically testing Bolt 12, a new payments protocol for Lightning Network. They explain what it is. What is the Bolt 12 Playground, though? It's a Docker stack that includes support for the most popular Lightning Network implementations and related components. That's LND, LNDK, Core Lightning, Eclair, and LDK node. It connects everything together, initializes wallets, and creates channels between nodes. Every node in the stack supports Bolt 12, enabling easy experimentation with invoice creation, payments, and other features of Bolt 12. So this, again, is hopefully going to thrust forward this new standard. It's not even new, but thrust forward this standard so that wallets and people of all using all types of implementations of Lightning can begin to integrate it. And I think Lightning has just hit a new milestone. So, I mean, that was one of the things with Lightning wallets that could sometimes be a pain in the ass, where it's like, I can't just post a QR code, things expire, all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure you've kind of run into with Lightning payments. It's not always easy. You know, you've had to jump through some hoops too previously.
Yeah, and like one of the things that I've noticed, right, and I love that Strike's taking the initiative to do this, is like when it like cold storage, you can't really cut corners there, right? You kind of have to learn it. But when it comes to Lightning, because it's only, you're only really going to only hold maybe like $500 or a maximum of $1,000 in your Lightning wallet. So I'm a convenience maxi, right? And what I feel like is we're getting to a point where Lightning is getting convenient, right? I was just talking to Ben about this, like the Strike, I know it's KYC, I get it, don't cancel me. But the Strike wallet with the Lightning integrated is so incredibly easy to use, like at different things. I still use GetAlby. I integrated with the Zeus wallet. I have Phoenix. I have Moon. Wallet Satoshi was canceled in the States. But what I'm trying to say is like, it is getting easy. It's getting convenient. I remember back in the day, people would send you this giant wall of text of a Lightning invoice, and you would copy it. And then 50% of the time it would say, sorry, doesn't work. Right. So yeah, I'm super bullish on Lightning, and shout out for Strike for pushing this forward.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to see. So we'll jump from there. Also, some new wallet developments. Blue Wallet has now full BIP47 support and sending to silent payment addresses. So if you're unfamiliar, these are two different privacy technologies that help obfuscate on-chain Bitcoin addresses, meaning that you can post a BIP47 paynim, it's known as, or a silent payment address. And these can be public facing. You can put them out there on social media, whatever, and individuals can use those things to pay you. But from the outside looking in, people cannot easily find an actual Bitcoin address to audit. They can only send to one that will specifically be allocated to them, and they won't be reused if that person doesn't use that particular address. So it's just a way of, in the days of old, people would take a static Bitcoin address and paste it somewhere, and anybody that looked at that from then on in would say, oh, geez, this person owns that address, and now I can see every transaction that goes through it. This helps with that. So, awesome to see. I'm super interested in the silent payment thing, and I've definitely played around with BIP47 before. So pretty cool to see. A couple quick more things here. OpenSats announced is the 5th wave of Bitcoin grants. They're a nonprofit organization that supports the development of free and open source software projects. And they've thrown out, and I'll just kind of rattle these off quick, but Core Lightning Bookkeeper Dashboard, Cove, it's a single sig wallet optimized for use with hardware signing devices, Fediment on-chain gateways, and RBF. Crux, which no, it's not on the desk right now, but I did just try this out and throw it in. I bought like a little just piece of hardware, and you can use all kinds of different hardware, but it's much like the Seed Signer project, but it's agnostic for what type of hardware you're running it on. Crux installer, Lightning Network Protocol Test Framework, Macadamia, which has to do with Cashew, which I played around a lot with, Tor support for BDK and Fediment, Utree XO, and validating Lightning Signer, or VLS, which is an open source project for improving security of the Lightning Network, which is super awesome. So OpenSats out there doing the Lord's work. Awesome to see. And a couple last things here. Cold Card Mark IV Q. Thanks, Nico. I'm going to have to get used to that. Cold Card Mark IV version 5.3.2 in the Q firmware, which is 1.2.2. They have NFC push transactions, which is basically you can get a transaction onto your cold card. You can sign and approve it. And then when you do, instead of having to export the transaction, put it on your computer into the wallet that you were using, you can literally, without opening, you literally take, you'd have your cold card queue. It has a signed transaction on it, and you hit the NFC button, and then you just take any phone. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be yours. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just a fully signed transaction that you've said, I want to send Bitcoin from here to here. And as soon as you tap it, it will take you to mempool.space, and it'll broadcast a transaction for you. You don't have to do anything else. Just tap your phone to the cold card and off it goes. It's a massive, massive improvement for UX in terms of not having to deal with any additional steps. Tap and go. Fucking awesome. So I'm stoked. I'm going to play with that. I'll do a video soon. Anyways, let's hit the last few things. I just did a tutorial for Keeper, which we're seeing right now, thanks to Nico. and yeah, this is a kind of like a key management software that allows you to do multisig, and they have, again, like the inheritance planning and all of that. Really cool, really versatile. I like the way that they're doing backups of it and all that. I love seeing all of these projects that are, again, pushing multisig forward and making it more user-friendly and innovating in around what they're doing. And then finally, I'll do a shout out to, we have just partnered myself, Mike Cook, and the team at Bitcoin Mentor, we had Bull Bitcoin reach out to us. They had a website called Bitcoin Support, and Bull Bitcoin in Canada as well as Costa Rica, and they had an issue where they were running into a lot of instances where they were trying to help people as they were setting up wallets and hardware and things like that, and it was really pulling away from the core of their business, and they just didn't have the man hours to make it happen. And they wanted people to be educated well, and so they reached out to us and they said, "Listen, we see what you're doing, and we're wondering if perhaps we could partner together and help funnel people into good self-custody practices." And so we were very happy Bitcoin Mentor is meant to be a gateway for people to be able to educate, level up their Bitcoin education, to be able to be confident in their setup, whatever it may be. And, Bitcoin Mentor is agnostic, and we will support the best tools that exist. And yeah, we believe that Bull Bitcoin has been a fantastic tool to Canadians and Costa Ricans. Though now that I haven't been down there, but we're happy to do anything we can to help educate the masses in whatever they may need. So Bull Bitcoin, thanks for reaching out. We appreciate it.
Pew 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 pew.
Love it. So yeah, I guess that's it. We're gonna get to chill for a couple days here. You're gonna join me tomorrow evening. Yes, tomorrow evening we're gonna be back here. We're gonna be doing some Why Are We Bullish here live.
Dude, I'm so excited. I think this is the second time I've recorded live from Ben's studio. It keeps getting more sophisticated and fancy, as you can see by the Madex piece. He also has his YouTube plaque behind me. Yeah, I got to level up. I got to get away from the green screen. But anyways, it's always an honor to record with Ben here in his home studio in Canada, having a great time in Calgary. And thanks for having me over, man. I've had a great time so far.
Yeah, man, it's going to be good. We're going to get to check out a little bit of Calgary Stampede. I think we're going to hit some mountains. We're going to go chill with Adam from Bitcoin Well. bitcoinwell.com/BTC Sessions.
Bitcoinwell.com/simply BTC.
No, that's I don't know what you're talking about.
That's not fair.
But yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's been great for the two of us to be able to hang out and chill with Adam and chill with the whole Calgary Bitcoin crew. Although Adam's Edmonton, Flames versus Oilers.
Go Panthers.
The worst. The worst part too is that the Panthers beat the Oilers in the Stanley Cup this year. If you went back 20 years, which is the reason why I don't watch hockey anymore, because I'm just scarred. Well, I do watch hockey from time to time, but it was the Tampa Lightning that beat the Calgary Flames in the Stanley Cup. And again, nobody in Florida even knew or gave a shit about hockey until 2 minutes before the final game. And then you have all of these Canadians just like wallowing in sorrow after it.
There's no ice in Florida. I don't even know why there's a hockey team there. We didn't know. I knew the Panthers existed, but it completely left my consciousness for the longest time. And it was like, oh, the Panthers in the finals, and every good Miami, and it's like, woo! And it became the thing to do over the weekend. I bet you 75% of the people in the Panthers arena had no idea about any of the hockey rules.
Yeah.
They were just there because it was the fun thing to do.
Yeah, whenever the air horns went off, they just got excited. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, if you look at your team roster, there's 13 Canadians on it. So technically it was Canada that won the Stanley Cup, all of them forever. It's just, the Cantillon effect is strong, and it doesn't forgo hockey. You guys are closest to the money spigot. You get the good players.
It's true, man. It's true. But I guess Bitcoin fixes this.
I think so. Maybe.
Bitcoin
I think that needs to be a panel at the next Bitcoin rodeo. Does Bitcoin fix hockey?
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We'll see.
That's a good one.
We'll see. Anyways, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you guys for being here. Like, subscribe, share, hit up the sponsors in these show notes down below. And we'll see you tomorrow for Why Are We Bullish? So have a great evening, day, wherever you may be. See you guys next time for your Simply Session.
HODL the Bitcoin.